Hey guys, welcome to my guide on Dagannoth Kings. Before we start, there's a button underneath all of my videos that opens up the timestamp side panel, and I've also listed all my Slayer guides in alphabetical order in the description. Let's go over the mechanics. Inside the Dagannoth King's room, there are 4 monsters: Supreme, Rex, Prime, and Spinalips. Each king attacks with a different combat style, and each one has a specific weakness, so it's recommended to have 70 plus combat stats before attempting this boss. The room they're in is multi-combat, and it can become dangerous if you have multiple kings attacking you at once. You can imagine their wander radius. When a king gets close to their outer edge, they may become aggressive onto you, even if you're standing at the edge of the arena. But the strategy of Dagannoth Kings is actually very simple. Only fight one king at a time. If you're only being attacked by a single king, you can completely negate their damage with the correct protection prayer. So I'll show you a theoretical example of how a trip might look like. Before we enter the arena, we start with a melee setup using Protect Missiles and Piety. We use this setup because Supreme attacks with ranged and is usually the first king you'll deal with. When we climb down into the arena, the kings will usually be out of position, and we're looking for a specific layout. We want Supreme close to the ladder, while Prime and Rex are wandering in the distance. If you don't get that scenario, climb back up the ladder, wait a second, then climb back down. When we get a favorable layout, deal as much damage to Supreme as possible. If Prime or Rex wanders back and becomes aggressive, go back up the ladder and wait a second again. But once you've killed Supreme, each king has a 90-second respawn timer, which gives us time to isolate the other 2 kings. The next king to kill is Rex. Switch to Protect Melee and our magic weapon, then run south and toward the eastern wall while tagging Rex to get him aggressive. As you finish the loop by standing here, Rex will get stuck on this ledge, and you can attack him safely from a distance. Since he's stuck and can't attack you, we can switch from Protect Melee to Protect Missiles to block some of the damage from the Spinalips in the water. After killing Rex, we then have to finish off Prime. We switch to Protect Magic, Eagle Eye, and our ranged weapon, then stand in the northeast corner to finish him off. Around this time, Supreme may respawn. For lower level players, setting your weapon to long range decreases the likelihood of Supreme wandering towards you and becoming aggressive. But after killing Prime, switch to Protect Missiles and Piety, wield your melee weapon, then run west and kill Supreme again, but try to attack him from the west side so you stay further away from Rex when he respawns. Then you just repeat the cycle: Supreme, Rex, Prime, until you're out of supplies. If you're a high level player finishing the first cycle, you'll often kill the kings faster than they respawn. At that point, many players simply stand in the center and kill the kings in rotation as they spawn. If you're a lower level player, your kills will usually be slower. That means the next king may respawn before you finish the current one, and you'll sometimes get attacked by 2 kings at once. You can either run up the ladder to fully reset the cycle, or you can tank the damage if it's only Supreme or Rex. Prime is the most dangerous with a max hit of 50, while Supreme and Rex have a max hit of around 30, which is a little less punishing. Another strategy is to focus on killing only Prime or Rex for the entire trip. Instead of rotating through all 3 kings, wait until the kings wander away from the ladder so the room is clear. This lets you safely move into position and isolate the king you want to fight. Rex is usually the safest option because he can be lured to the eastern wall and safe spotted, but Prime can also be isolated from the northeast side. The downside of this method is that you'll need to wait 90 seconds between kills for the respawn timer. However, it's far less stressful for lower level players, and if you're an early game Ironman hunting a specific ring, it's a very reliable strategy. So let's set up our armor. If you're doing the cycle, we'll need a melee, magic, and range weapon, and the rest of the gear provides excellent DPS and defensive bonuses. If this is your first time doing Dagannoth Kings, it's not a bad idea to use 2-handed weapons like the Noxious Halberd, or to not bring a shield to keep the weapon switching simple. When you get more comfortable with the boss, you can bring more switches later in your inventory to increase your DPS. This is the armor chart if you're isolating Rex, the king that attacks with melee and drops the Berserker ring. An entire Dagannoth task can take up to 3 to 4 K casts, and I listed the base spell cost at the bottom for easy math. If you're wearing defensive gear like Proselyte, just make sure your magic attack bonus stays above 0. This is the armor chart if you're isolating Prime, the king that attacks with magic and drops the Seer's ring. An entire Dagannoth task can take up to 1000 ammo, and I made an ammo rank list at the bottom that you can use. Now that your armor is set up with your weapon switches in your inventory, we'll now go over how to get to the Dagannoth Kings. The fastest way to get there is by using a Waterbirth teleport, and you can use any of these 3 options. You can also use an enchanted lyre to Waterbirth, or if those aren't options, you can also travel with Jarvald on the most western dock of Releca. Once you get to Waterbirth Island, there are 2 entrances. The best entrance is the one locked behind the 85 agility shortcut, which will bring you right to the ladder. Just climb down to bring ourselves into the sublevels, follow this path, using the correct protection prayer, take this 81 agility obstacle, and snake your way to the safe spot east of the Dagannoth King entrance. If you don't have 85 agility, you'll need to use the western entrance, which brings you here. Use protect melee and run to the northern obstacle. Place a pet rock on one of the floor platforms, stand on the other platform, then unlock the door. You can leave the pet rock on the floor, and you can get another one from Ask Aladdin in Releka. Continue running east until you reach this wall obstacle. Use your Rune Throne Axe special attack on the western wall closest to the Wallasalkis room to break down the obstacle. Then you can climb down into the sublevels. Then just snake your way through. You can use the 81 agility obstacle to save you a bit of time, or keep climbing down the ladders using the correct protection prayers until you reach the safe spot. If you're having trouble seeing the map, I'll also provide a zoomed in version that you can keep open in another tab while you run through the dungeon. I also recommend setting up your quick prayer and rune light settings now, and I provided examples that you can follow. And here are the inventory examples. In the text boxes, the items labeled in white are required, while the ones labeled in pink are optional. So let's go over the in-game examples, and I recommend watching me first before going in. We'll start by running to the Dagannoth King entrance. I'm taking the long route so you can see how I use the pet rock and Rune Throne Axe during the run, but I recommend having the map pulled up so you can easily prayer switch at the correct times. Climb down the ladder. When you reach the safe spot, you can hop to a different world to reset the monster aggression. Let's go over all the preparations before we fight the kings. If you enable the menu entry swapper plugin on RuneLight, you can hold down Shift and right click and swap the left click option for King's Ladder to Slayer. That way you get your own private room during your Slayer task. I also recommend going into NPC indicators, then check marking highlight tile and show respawn timer, changing the highlight color to blue, and typing all 3 kings in the NPCs to highlight box. I'll post the Dagannoth names in the comments so you can simply copy and paste it. If you're lower level, I also recommend setting your ranged and magic switches to long range, while higher level players can keep it on rapid or accurate. One of the final preparations is changing the tile colors of Supreme and Rex. I'm turning on protect missiles, then climbing down, but be careful, only do this if you're not being attacked by Prime. I want to quickly hold down Shift and right click Supreme and change the tag color to green, then do the same thing for Rex, but change it to yellow, then go back up. But with all the preparations complete, let's go over the cycle example. Drink your stat boosting potions, the optional prayer regen, as well as my anti-poison. Heal up to full, then we're looking for that optimal layout where Supreme is close to the ladder, and Prime and Rex are wandering in the distance. I got it on the first try, but you can go up and down the ladder as many times as you want. If you're being destroyed by the monsters on the surface, you can run back to the safe spot and hop worlds to reset their aggression. But the first step is killing Supreme. This is not the greatest position Supreme can be in, but it'll do. If Prime wanders back, I'll just climb back up the ladder. So Prime wandered back, so I'll just go up and down the ladder until he wanders away. So even I was struggling quite a bit here, but it really is luck based. Some trips I have trouble killing Supreme in the beginning, and some trips it goes perfectly smooth without any issues. Once you've killed Supreme, switch to protect melee with our magic weapon, then tag Rex and drag him south then east. You can get him stuck first on the ledge, then when he's stuck, you can switch on protect missiles to reduce damage from the spinal lips. Once you've killed Rex, switch to protect magic and our ranged weapon, then kill Prime from the northeast. If you're lower level, you can wait for Prime to walk closer before attacking him, That way he's far away from Supreme when he respawns. If you're a higher level player, it matters a bit less, because you'll probably kill Prime fast enough before Supreme can respawn. But this is a really good position for Prime. We're extremely far away from Supreme in this spot. But once you've killed Prime, we want to use Protect Missiles and Piety with our melee weapon, then kill Supreme from the west side to avoid Rex. But that's basically the cycle method. I'm using the lowest level gear from my armor charts, so if you've got better gear, the cycle method is usually much more smooth. And here is the example method if you're only killing Rex or only killing Prime. When we climb down the ladder, we're looking for a layout where all three kings are wandering far away. This is the perfect scenario, so I'm going to sneak on the outer edge of the arena. I'm killing Rex, but if you're killing Prime, you want to loop around the other way. We're basically using the same strategy as the cycle method, except after we finish the kill, we're waiting for our king to respawn so we can kill him over and over again. As we're waiting for the respawn, you want to stand far into the corner as much as possible with Protect Missiles. That way, the other kings won't wander into you, whilst also getting decent protection against the Spinalips in the water. But when they respawn, get them into an optimal killing position and repeat the process. And that's everything. If you found the video helpful, please leave it a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any thoughts or suggestions, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.